And welcome into more action of the 2026 East Coast Ice Battle here on MST. That ends up in the Silverbacks bench to start it off. So it's the 2017 born Riptide and Silverbacks to continue action here. That one definitely a debatable trip. Won't go called. Here's Wigmore bringing it into the zone. Wigmore will shoot it in. It's caught in by Moore. Bowen Moore through the center. Redirected. Taken up here by Ferguson. Ferguson walking in, fakes the shot, cuts around, and in and out of the pad there of Willis. Caught him back behind the net. Silverbacks continue to pressure. Going up high, high slot. Cutting back, hitting the brakes is Edwards, although took a little bit of a fall with it. As they get it back in behind the net. Riptide attempt to get out of the zone. Weeks. That almost worked. Here's Ferguson again. Wesley Ferguson storming up the zone. Working his way in. Ferguson cutting to his backhand. Tries to throw it out in front. Taken away. Here's Wigmore. Getting it into some open ice through center. Right in the SO Cup logo. And it's down into the zone of the Riptide. McQuillan. It'll be the Silverbacks offside. Riptide in their own end. They initiate a breakout. It stopped it at the line. Here's King. Taken away by Welsh. As Welsh will cut through the zone. Back in. There's a Riptide player that fell. Welsh still with it. Somehow sends a perfect tape to the line, where it'll be cleared in by Moore. Riptide with it at the ringette line. Held in by King. But now a little spring pass out of the zone. It gets up to Knox. Here's Knox up the right side, but couldn't quite get it to the net as it sprung out back through center. Bringing his way back, William Swan will throw it through center. That's off a body. A fallen Riptide player now walking up is Morrison. Morrison stops. Sharp angle shot doesn't go. Here's Stewart from the line, lets one go. Almost redirected off a glove as it finds its way to the opposite corner. Here's Poole. Taking down a man as the Silverbacks head back the other way. Here's another turnover. Morrison stepping in. He'll have a shot. A nice save is made by goaltender Conrad. Both teams getting chances to start off this game, and here a burst of speed. Ferguson, the shot, scores! Wesley Ferguson using his wheels to drive up the right side, and then ends up going top shelf. What a goal from number 97. As we get another look at it. That one's another one for the highlight reel. Silverbacks outside the zone. They've taken a quick 1-0 lead. Here's Godfrey. Or excuse me, that's Tate. As the puck flies through the zone. Regathered back by Graham. Graham through the zone. As it's taken back, here's Ferguson again. Charging up, gets past Weeks. Ferguson across, Tate waits, delays, and shoots it just over the net. What a chance as Tate gets another chance and just sends it wide. Two great chances, Pippa Tate. Held in at the line, Graham. Back for Ferguson. Wesley Ferguson, clearly the X factor here for the Silverbacks as Bro now enters the zone. Pressure from Day Ross, stepping in. Will Bro cutting in behind the net. Stops, waits, tries a little wraparound. Doesn't go. Having to rush to hold the line. Walking there is McKinnon. They get it stopped in behind the net. It's backhanded by O'Keefe. Stopping in against the wall, Edwards. Bro in there as well. Backhanded to the ringette line. Bro will end up digging it loose. Little pass up through center. Regathered by the Silverbacks defense. Here's Bro cutting wide. Will Bro backhander out in front. And a beautifully set up play, but the Riptide defense get back in just the nick of time. Riptide in the corner. Couple on the ground. Bell trying to encircle it out. And a good breakout as it looks like it's Knox heading up the right wing. Knox working in. Might have some room. The shot. The save by Willis. Or Conrad, excuse me. Another one right next to the net. Luckily there. Not getting a lucky bounce. Here's a shot saved by Willis as it goes in behind the cage. Taken in the corner. Be rimmed around. Here's Ferguson coming down from the blue line. Throws that one out in front. No one there. Ferguson again. Gonna try it. And it was Bro that just had it slip off his blade. Working up. Godfrey, the shot, glove down. Silverbacks with possession. It's Dornbach getting it out of the zone. A good head man pass. Gets it up to Godfrey, the little poke. Here's Jeffrey in the middle. A pass that's intercepted by Graham. They battle right at center. It's brought back into the zone of the Silverbacks. Waiting a heave across to the other side. That gets over to Bro. It's Godfrey trying to get that to the center. Stewart in there battling. It's regathered back by Ferguson. Wesley Ferguson, he's already shown off his talent so far. And again, a nice little head man pass. Gets it up to Tate. Thrown along the boards by Morrison. Ferguson hitting the brakes. Waits for players to go by. And the pass was tipped going into the middle. Trying to get it over to McKinnon. The red line, Graham. Working in, McQuillan. Cutting wide. Little spinorama, it's taken over. Silverbacks come back the other way. Working up, Godfrey waits, lets one go. Caught down by Willis from far for a whistle. It's the Silverbacks that take it away again off the draw. Here in the high slot, it's just elevated over the net. Here's Tate. Working, trying to get it to the line for King. That's intercepted by Wigmore as he'll shovel it to the middle. Over from McQuillan, they're offside. It's touched up by Tate. Just got a little excited. And on this Friday morning, getting into the afternoon, we invite you. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to hear from you on this day one of the 2026 East Coast Ice Battle, where it's going to be Mikhailov that goes up against the boards right off the draw. The Silverbacks rush back in. It was Moore that was taken down to a knee. And the Riptide recover in behind the net. Moved around for Bell. Marcus Bell trying to go up against the wall. Was blocked by Tate. Still a scramble at the blue line for it. Or it's brought back in. Bell able to hold the line. Somehow not offside. Jinx myself as I say that. The Riptide might have a rush here. Potential breakaway. Walking in. Here's the shot to the forehand. They score! What a move to even this hockey game. Ben Mikhailov got the little stretch pass through center. And he shows the Silverbacks how his hands move as he goes backhand to forehand, and his reward is a wide open net for the Riptide to tie this game up at 1. Silverbacks back in. Here's Bro to the net, denied by the glove of Willis. Three minutes left in the first period. Goals from Ferguson. And it looks like they're going to give that one to Knox. In the zone, Morrison. Could be a turnover. Trying to get to the front of the net was Edwards. Stopping at the line, Bro. Unable to get a shot off. It's backhanded high by Ferguson. Stopped in. Here's Bro in behind the net. Working in, Ferguson. Going in behind, Bro. Riptide are going to take this one away. A bouncing puck gets this one outside the zone. Can be poked by. It's a foot race for it. There goes Graham, and she'll win the battle as Graham goes in around the net into the corner. Wearing number 67, something tells me not on accident. And not by random chance either. Here's the Riptide back the other way. Morrison stepping into the line. Creates some room. Morrison, the shot, scores! Ivan Morrison with a nice move. Make it 2 for the Riptide. And just a nice move to cut to the outside, shake off the 2 defense, and makes no mistake getting that one to the back of the net. Ivan Morrison gives this Riptide team their first lead of the game, and the assist to that one's going to be given to Adler Van Weeken. First goal, it's Knox with the assist to Mikhailov. Silverbacks in their own zone. A little pirouette from Brock McKinnon. Riptide going up the wall. This one's blocked into the zone. McKinnon to the net. They score! And that one just squeaks by the red line. Brock McKinnon evens this one up for the Silverbacks as he gets a sharp angle shot on net. Riptide having to defend. They just gave up the tying goal moments ago. McKinnon looking again. The puck's poked right in the slot. Where is it? They score! And who's going to get that final touch in front? The Silverbacks come back with 2 huge goals. That looks to be Elias Godfrey that had gotten the final touch on it, as there's a scramble right in front of the net. And it's poked into the net. The Silverbacks make it 3-2 right at the end of the period. That's 2 quick ones. Riptide won't be able to hold the zone. It's Stewart that exits and goes to neutral ice. Little curl around. Just getting to 30 left to go. What a move by Stewart. Stewart shakes off a couple to the wide open ice and couldn't quite get the shot off. Made a similar move to Morrison. In the zone, Knox. Little deflection by Stewart, put to the net. Getting low on time, out in front of the shot. A nice save is made by Conrad as the Silverbacks come back the opposite direction with speed. Here's Ferguson. Not the man you want to let walk in. Ferguson, the shot denied by Willis. 2 great saves. As here's Knox back the other way, tries to split the D, passes one over. Jeffrey walking in to his backhand. Another nice save by Conrad right as the period ends. 3 amazing saves back to back to end off this second period of play. Or the first period of play, excuse me. Make it Silverbacks 3, Riptide 2 on MST. It's Brayden Lane from the DF Uniplex on the Uni Surface 2026 East Coast Ice Battle. So a quick turnaround back for the second period. Throw it back to the line. Shot from far. And Timmins, the shot ends up going wide to the net. Willis pokes it away. Loose out in front momentarily before McLean is able to throw it around. And it'll rebound outside the zone as they go towards the penalty box. Riptide the other way with speed. Jeffrey and Morrison entering the zone. They'll be offside and not by very much. And we'd like to remind everyone watching, we'll be here the entire weekend, Uni Surface and IGA included, for the action of the 2026 East Coast Ice Battle. As we start off with day 1, a day where everyone wants to get off to a hot start, get that first win. Silverback side of the net, trying to jam it in was Welsh. It was around the boards, attempted clear by Weeks is blocked in. Silverbacks might have another chance with their sharp angle shot, and that one's off the post. Another try as Willis has to desperately get back. Silverbacks to the line, King off a skate, it's held in for not very long. Here's Wigmore now. Oliver Wigmore walking in, there's the shot, saved by Conrad, as he'll be able to hold on. And a penalty up and coming in the corner. It's flipped up. Working there is Dornbach. Oh, a power play now here for the Silverbacks. Shot towards the net, redirected, no one there for it as it now goes down low. Here's Godfrey up to the line. The shot there from Dornbach doesn't go on net. They battle for it right to the side. And a little early whistle as Willis did get to it. Attempted clear out of the zone. Here's Graham walking in. There's a quick shot that doesn't work. Here's Reed stepping up. Can't quite get that on net. And the Riptide will be able to send it all the way down the ice. Silverbacks into the zone. Stepping in, shot denied by Willis. The rebound was waiting right on the doorstep. Go around the boards. Graham holding the line again. Sent across. Moving in, here's Graham. Trying to get to the net. As it'll now be cleared down the ice by the Riptide. Less than 40 to go on the power play. Working up for the Silverbacks. Here's Tate working his way in. Shot, it hits the ref. No reaction. As the Silverbacks move it back in onside. About to leave the box is Stewart. Riptide move their way in. Morrison, the shot towards the net is deflected off the paddle of Conrad and into the boards. Penalty now expired, so a successful penalty kill for the Riptide. As they are down by a goal. But one shot could very much change all here in this one, as both teams have gone 2 quick goals in this game. Morrison worked up the backhander through center. The Silverbacks take over, working their way in. Timmins, shot put towards the net. Pat save made by Wills. Another try, Ferguson from far. Willis there again as the rebound will be sent out into the corner. Silverbacks will throw it in. A little dump and chase, still establishing his own possession. Riptide look to take over. Little flip from Morris Wells. Riptide worked their way up. Attempted stretch pass, and falling down is Swan. Working up Swan. That one slid under his stick. Could be a rush the other way from Morris Wells. That one didn't work. Here come the Riptide through center. Riptide worked their way up. Sauce captured in by Ferguson. The Silverbacks worked their way in. Wraparound attempt with a pass out in front. Waiting right there was Thomas Edwards. Here's some nice moves. A saucer pass out in front. Another great chance for the Silverbacks. They've been dominating possession as of the recent couple minutes. Silverbacks in behind the net. Poked away by DeRoche. As the Riptide come back the other way. Look at them go through center. Trying to skate in again. There was DeRoche. The pass down low side of the net. Now go around the net. The wraparound ended up being a pass that ended up going right through the crease and could be delayed icing. Does this puck have enough? No, it does not. They're going to wave it off. Van Weeken around the net. This one loose. Taken away. They charge towards the net. There's the shot denied by Willis, who stands up. And what a great last couple minutes from the Silverbacks, suppressing that opposition. Silverbacks outside the zone. Morrison, Jeffrey, working in. McKinnon will throw that one up. They'll enter in offside. Working back for the Silverbacks. Pippa Tate. Whereas number 48, Lane Hudson, showing off some shifty moves. That puck goes high over the net, taken back by the Riptide. Morrison charging up the wing, getting angled out. As Ferguson, or excuse me, that's Timmins, skates up through. What a move by Timmins. Backhander, a diving effort on defense from the Riptide. Couldn't pinpoint who that was, but may have just saved a goal. At the line, skating in. Dornbach moves in, and it's directed in behind the net. Timmins, or that's Ferguson rather, trying to stop. 4 minutes left to go in period 2. As more and more fans start stacking the uni service. Pass out in front, off the post. That one somehow went off the inside of the post and went out. Bit of a lucky break for the Riptides. It's flipped down. This one could be going on net. May not have enough. Coming outside, Conrad tried to stop it. Couldn't corral it. Here the Riptide. Weeks threw it out in front. High flit. Timmins stopping it. The puck's on the ground and taken out by the Silverbacks. 3.5 minutes to go. Wigmore trying to go in, but he has to get back on side. Silverbacks the other way. Skating up, turning on the Jets. Here's Edwards, waiting, stopping, trying to backhand it to the line, and that one's going to be an errant pass that gets turned over. The Riptide are back the other way. The Riptide work their way back. And it's the Silverbacks' turn now. Here's Edwards cutting towards the net. The forehand, he scores! What a move, Thomas Edwards. Or that may be Owen Welsh, excuse me. That may be Owen Welsh. That came in bursting with speed, protected the puck, shoved it to his forehand, and then had almost a wide open cage to give the Silverbacks a 4-2 lead. A 2-goal lead looking much better than a 1-goal lead heading into this intermission. Now here the Riptide coming back the other way, might have a chance, and it's lefted over the net. Silverbacks come back the other way. Working out the Riptide, get it back. Here's Stewart. Riptide skating back. They hold the line. Stewart. His pass we get over to Jeffrey. Jeffrey back up to Stewart. Stewart. His pass off a leg back for Stewart. Stewart, he'll have another chance. The shot, the save, and the rebound will end up closer to the corner as the Silverbacks head back the opposite direction. And there's a huge collision right at center. Silverbacks, a little flip in. The Riptide gain possession. Coming all the way from the island. As they're down, but not big, just 4-2. As we get down to the final minute of the second period. Deep into the zone, Timmons. Going around the boards, she'll shoot this one. It'll get outside the blue line, get up to the red line before it's stopped and cleared back in off the line, off the foot of the linesman. Silverbacks work their way in across the blue line. Here's Welsh, a nice little spinorama. Owen Welsh cutting in, protecting the puck against McLean. Welsh and McLean down behind the net, the backhander, and it just ended up behind the net. Now just 5 seconds left. The Riptide get out of the zone. May not have a chance for a shot. Here comes Morrison on a breakaway. Needs to shoot quickly. And there's the buzzer. Riptide with a great chance to end the period. But make it 4-2, excuse me, in favor of the Silverbacks. Brayden Elaine from the Uniplex Unisurface here in the 2026 East Coast Ice Battle. And welcome back for the third period of play. The Silverbacks make their way into the zone. Here's Ferguson. The pass to the middle attempted for Bro doesn't go. Here's Bro recovering. Hits the brakes. Bro in the zone. Taken away here by McQuillan. McQuillan up for Wigmore. That one under his tape. Goes all the way down the ice. Looking at it is Conrad, and he'll look at that one. Be called an icing as we get down to the last period. Your goals in this game for the Silverbacks: Godfrey, Welsh, McKinnon, and Ferguson. And for the Riptide, it's Ivan Morrison and Mason Knox that have each gone on the board. Here the Riptide win the draw. Dornbach, the shot put towards the net. That one missed the post, but not by much. Here's Edwards in the corner. Edwards to the middle. Here's Ferguson cutting to his backhand, puts it towards the net, and Willis didn't know where it was there for a second. Silverbacks hold the zone. What a nice pass. Walking in, Bro, the shot. Good save by Willis. It bounced up and landed in the crease, but was swept away by a Riptide defenseman. Working back for the Silverbacks. Here's Moore. Waiting in the corner. Flipped up against the wall. Bro. All the way down O'Keefe. Into the zone. Walking in, Darash. Had his stick lifted. Stewart had been fallen on top of. Riptide end up going back the other way. Here's Swan. Working in. Pass will deviate off to the side. Here's Bro in the corner, waiting, side of the net. The pass out in front had hopped off a body and is taken back the opposite direction by the Silverbacks. They are up 4-2. Here's Bro skating into the zone. Bro hits the brakes. Will go around the net. Bro cuts, goes back with a little fake to backhand towards the net. Doesn't work. And we're going to go back the other way. Here's Knox, a one-on-one against Graham. It's Graham that comes back to upend Knox, who was skating up with some speed, thrown out in front. Thomas Edwards, the only one there, and he'll send that headman pass up for McKinnon. That's Poole, rather. That's in the zone. He has some pressure from Van Weeken. Van Weeken, who steals, will throw it around the boards. Stopped in by Bro. Riptide work their way back. It's flipped and will be caught in by Morrison. To the middle, Stewart cutting back in his zone. Eddie Stewart up against the wall, right for Morrison. Here's Morrison, might have a target. There's Graham coming out of nowhere on defense, stopping that rush. Riptide take it over. The pass to the point. McLean put to the net. That would have gone to about the hash marks before it was stopped. Silverbacks the other way. Moving up the zone. Here's Graham. Cutting and holding. Throwing it out to the center. Caught right on the center ice dot, where it's regathered here by Godfrey. Godfrey hits the brakes. Morrison cuts. Tries to find an angle. Here's Jeffrey, working his way in. Skating in, Godfrey trying to do a little loose puck deke. That one doesn't go. Will be held in by King. Working in, will send that one to the blue line where it's caught in and shot by Bro. Another one held in by the Silverbacks as they get it back for the Riptide behind the net. Headman pass for Morrison. Morrison to protect, no whistles so far. Here's a pass, it's picked off. Skating in, the shot from far. It's gloved down by Willis. There, a quick shot right off the draw. Silverbacks able to keep possession. Almost held in by Dornbach, but he is steamrolled through where it's caught back here by Moore. Moore, the pass off for Ferguson. Throwing that up to the red line, deflected in by Timmins. Here out of nowhere, walking up. Here's Tate going in behind the net. Having to hold on, the Riptide end up getting it right at the ringette line. Wigmore will flip it to center. Under McQuillan, just got past Weeks as well, but Weeks going to recover. Here's Weeks working in the sharp angle. Shot turned away by Conrad, and he'll be there to hold. Near the Silverbacks. A clean zone exit. Edwards moving back, a little flip along the boards. Stopping it is Stewart. Stewart moving up to the zone. Stewart to the middle. DeRoche waiting and firing. Saved by Conrad. Rebound on the doorstep. They score! And that is just plain simple hockey. You get the puck to the net. And that one looks to be Ben Mikhailov, who's waiting on the doorstep to tap in the loose change. And the Riptide get back to within one. The Riptide, both teams actually have been playing a really good third period with great chances. Walking in, Another chance, almost. That one looked to have been Bell. That was skating in low. Stewart will have it at the line. He walks in offside. He still had DeRoche that he had to wait for. Here come the Riptide. Not too much pressure so far. Swan has a bit of room to make a move behind the net as it's going to be flipped out the zone into neutral ice. Working around is Welsh, having a stick lifted. He's working in onside now. Morrison. The pass is picked off. Just held in. No, it's not held in by Stewart. It definitely didn't look like so. About half the period gone. The Riptide have now only made it a 1-goal game. Definitely the best game to call so far today. At least here at the Uni surface. Here's a giveaway. Stepping in and quickly Pochek was gone free, and the Silverbacks center in offside. Riptide work their way back. Here's Wigmore cutting along the right side, trying to create some room. Wigmore, the shot, just elevated it over the crossbar. That's been their best chance to tie the game thus far. Here could be a little bit of a turnover. Walking in, Wigmore again, the shot. Barely getting a glove on that. Was Conrad out in the net. Silverbacks get outside the zone. McKinnon to Ferguson. Ferguson stepping in along the right side. He cuts wide to McKinnon in the middle. Awkward bounce, the shot. What a block by the defenseman diving. Wesley Ferguson again just sent it wide. What great defense by the Riptide to keep this game at a deficit of 1. Here's Wigmore back the other way. Ferguson getting back in time. And here the dump in, chasing his Weeks. Weeks in the corner. Taken away McKinnon. He'll try it again. Flip that one up. Shot in by O'Keefe. Loose in the paint. Right back in. Another try. They score! This game is tied at 4. From an awkward angle. The players on the bench coming out to celebrate just inside the zone of the Silverbacks. And who got the last touch on that? That might be Marcus Bell. He's first in the handshake line. The Riptide have evened this one up. Making it 4-4 with less than 5 to play. They've scored 2 pretty quick ones to even this one up. Here's the lead pass, walking out. Here's Knox, who's going to try to split the D. End up moving along. The no-look backhand pass is picked off by Welsh. Here the speedy Owen Welsh up the left side. Working in on Stewart. Stewart turns as they battle for it right up against the boards. It's a puck battle for it. 4 minutes to go. Working across is Graham. A little saucer pass to the net. That goes on Willis. He'll take the safe play and cover. At 3:55 of the third period, we're tied up at 4. Silverbacks barely in the zone. They're going to call that one offside, although very close. Nash King almost kept that one in the zone, definitely caught it cleanly. The pass just a bit too hard on the tape. Face-off Don walking in. Here's Edwards. His little move doesn't go. It's regathered back to the line. That one just slips under the tape of Morris Wells as the Riptide get it out. Gonna try to set up some offensive zone possession as King shoots it on his own net. What a save by Conrad. Never let your opponent know your next move, I guess. As in the zone, it's Ferguson trying to go up to the blue line. The pass doesn't have enough on it. 3 minutes to go. Here's Morrison in. He's going to try to get possession back. Here's Morrison stepping in, going in behind the net now. The puck's poked loose. A man like Ivan Morrison, you don't want to give him any time or space because he'll take what he can get and he'll take what's his. Going up, here's Edwards, has a man with him. Edwards hits the brakes. His shot is fanned on. Now it goes around O'Keefe. In behind the net. Morrison slowing the play down, trying to get it up to Stewart. Took an awkward bounce. Ended up going to another teammate. Shot all the way down the ice. This looks like it's icing at 2:35 of the third period. Riptide off the draw. Brought back into the zone. McLean around the boards. Taken by Weeks on the opposite side. To be cleared in. Silverbacks work their way back in. Here's Welsh trying to create some room. Runs over a man. This one taken along the boards. Riptide looked to get it out. Stopped at the red line. Backhanded into the zone. As the Silverbacks look to get out. Potential 2-on-1 for the Riptide. Lead pass out of the reach of Wigmore. They're in offside, however, so they're going to have to reset before they can get their offense going back once more. Silverbacks look to great possession. There's a pass that's turned over. Wigmore stepping in. The shot save by Conrad as he'll watch that one go right into his chest. So coming down the final 2 minutes. We're all deadlocked at 4. Face-off is 1. Bell, the D-to-D, waiting and shooting is O'Keefe. Sent wide. Riptide recover around the net. Desroches going to the net. His pass just misses target. Now pinching from the defense. Timmons able to get it out. The pass to the middle. Almost knocked down perfectly by Tate. Tate moving across. Ferguson can't quite get it. Here's Tate stopping, putting it to the net, right in the blue paint. Ferguson looking for it too. Riptide back the other way. They go in a 3-on-2. Stepping up, Desroches leads. His pass to his left. There's the shot. They score! And the Riptide have come back from being down 4-2 at the start of the third. They're up 5-4 at 1:03 to go. And their fans are ecstatic as it looks like Mikhailov just got his second of the game. Or excuse me, that's Ivan Morrison. I've said his name a couple of times before. Conrad is to the bench. We got an empty net. Less than a minute left to go. Empty net for the Silverbacks. 6-on-5 we play. Riptide in behind the net. Working in. They bust outside the zone. A 3-on-2 with an empty net. Here's Swan working his way in. Empty cage. He scores! And William Swan will put the nail in the coffin for the Riptide. as they now take a 6-4 lead right at the end of this hockey game. And McQuillan in offside, so we'll have to wait a bit longer to officially crown the victor. Silverbacks in their own zone. They try to throw it out. It's blocked in by Wigmore. We'll throw it off to the side. Caught in by Bell almost as we're down to the last 10 seconds. They skate up. The shot side of the net doesn't go. And the Riptide will win this one by a score of 6-3 on MST. What an absolute thriller of a hockey game here at the 2026 East Coast Ice Battle. It's bringing the lane from the Dieppe Uniplex. Uni Surface. Still day one, getting into the afternoon here on MST.